G'day guys, hope you're all going well. I've just got a 7-minute Pilates 101 session for you coming up. So it should be good for most people. Just be careful if you have got any back pain or any injuries. Just make sure you listen to your body and go within your own limits. Alright, if you have any questions, please yell out and I'll be here to help. Cheers. Alrighty guys, so this is making yourself comfortable lying on your back. And the first principle in Pilates we're talking about is just getting your neutral spine. So if you just feel your hip bones and just try and flatten your lower back into the mat, and then just do the reverse, make it arch through your lower back. So you're just trying to create some space between the mat and your lower back. Just do this a few times, then you're trying to find the neutral spine, so halfway between those two extremes. Then moving on to a few big diaphragm breaths. So if you put your hands on your lower rib cage, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth about 4 or 5 times. And just try and feel your lower ribs expand from the front, the sides and the back. The diaphragm is going to be your key core muscle. When you contract through the diaphragm, you're going to trigger off all the other stabilizers in your spine. So keep breathing through your diaphragm, neutral spine in your lower back. If you want to, put your hands behind your head, and we'll just do a few little foot motions back and forth. Then moving into our heel taps. So if you feel comfortable, if there's not too much pressure on your lower back, you can start to tap one foot at a time. Just a very gentle, light tap of the heel onto the mat. If that feels uncomfortable for your back, maybe just go a quarter or halfway down. You should start to notice a bit of activity in the front of your abdominal, getting the core switching in. We're going to move into our bridge. Again, you can have your arms folded across your chest or just arms down by your hips. And just trying to flatten your back. And this is my daughter, Holly, helping me out. So you're just trying to push using your glutes. That's going to activate your main hip and lower back stabilizer, the gluteus maximus. So we're coming back into our leg taps. This time trying to keep your legs out as straight as you can. And again, this will put more strain on your back, but hopefully also get your core working. So you just choose how far down you feel comfortable, whether it's halfway, 3/4, or if you're feeling strong, you can push that heel right down and tap onto the ground. You should definitely be feeling a good activation now through the core. Come back to our principles, keeping on breathing, keeping that neutral spine. As soon as you feel like your lower back is arching too much off the ground, you need to drop your range. We're going to come into our single leg bridges, so pushing into your bridge, stretching one leg out straight in front, just trying to keep that hip up high, so you will feel a nice activation of the gluteus maximus and also in the back of the thigh, in the hamstring. Again, just sort of keep breathing, diaphragm, and coming down. We're going to just do a few 4 or 5 rocking motions. If you take your hands behind your knees, try and use your core to really launch yourself up, activating through the core. And breathe. Turning over onto your hands and knees. And just going to extend your left leg back and just pause for a moment. You might notice the glutes again activating here. Try not to let your spine rotate or turn. Keep everything locked in parallel to the mat. And again, just breathing through. If you feel comfortable, you want a bit more of a challenge, you can add in the opposite arm and leg at the same time. So same principles, just trying to keep the core and the upper body parallel to the mat without tilting or rotating your body. And again, you might notice the glutes activating and a bit through the front of the core as well. We'll just come into a few gentle cat-cow stretches, breathing in as you look up and then breathing out as you look down, and really trying to contract your core. Turning over onto your side, and just a bit of hip abduction. You just want to make sure you're right on your side, and you want to just put the hand on the back of that hip, and you'll feel that gluteus medius muscle, really important stabilizer. Into our clamshells with feet together, opening up the knees. You should be feeling a nice burn on the glutes. Just push into your side plank. This is the easy version on your knees and on your forearm, just holding and breathing. and then we're going to switch over to the other side. So back onto the hip abduction, again getting the gluteus medius muscle working. So much good research for this muscle playing a role in helping stabilise your lower back, your hip, and also for your knee. Really good for runners especially to do this simple activation exercise. Good one to do right before you run. Back into the side plank and breathe, and you should be feeling this underneath those oblique muscles, really powerful core muscles, so it's good to activate them. And then we're going to come into a bit more of a core blast, pushing into our plank position, and we're just doing a soaring motion, keeping your arms steady and just rocking over your ankles, breathing, and then as slowly as you can, dropping your legs back onto the mat, just pushing back into a child's pose. We'll come back to our breath again, so breathing in through the nose and trying to push the air deep into the rib cage, back into our plank, and we'll do a little walking motion, so tapping one knee down and stretching the other ankle back, a nice little dynamic calf stretch. And again, just as slow as you can, dropping those knees down, tap, and back into our child's pose. We'll bring the arms over to the right and just sit your hips back to the left, and you may notice a nice stretch in the back of that left shoulder. Coming into our final plank, this time a little clock motion, tapping the right foot to 4 o'clock, left foot to 8 o'clock. And again, keep breathing, diaphragm breath, staying strong, and knees down as slowly as you can to the mat, touching, and we'll drop back into our last child's pose, stretching the arms over to the left, dropping the hips over to the right, and again you might notice just a gentle stretch through the upper right shoulder. And for our final core exercise, we're pushing into our bear crawl. So you're going to try and pop onto your hands and knees, lift your knees up off the mat, but just try and keep them as low as you can, so maybe a centimetre or two, and then hit reverse. Looks pretty easy, but as you start to activate all the core muscles in your shoulders, abdomen and hips, that would be a fantastic way to get these core muscles switching on. A couple of rounds, and then we come to the end. You can take your time, lie over on your back, bring your arms out to the side or over your head. Just another couple of deep breaths, really trying to get that diaphragm to expand. Beautiful open rib cage, getting all that healing oxygen into your lungs. And you can remain here as long as you feel comfortable and relax. Let your body rest.